Hello, listeners. A warm welcome to the Complete Life Show. I'm your host, Lisa Thamides, and I'm so glad that you've tuned in. This show is all about finding peace and well-being through the mind-body-spirit continuum. My hope is we can all take away nuggets of information from all the wonderful people I interview to help us lead our very best lives. Today, I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Lex Bardyeyev, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine and Certified Veterinarian Acupuncturist and Chinese Medicine Practitioner. Dr. Lex provides a safe, stress-free environment for his clients and patients, which is essential to Dr. Lex. He makes time during his appointments to get to know his clients and their animal companions. Caring for animals in the comfort of their home allows Dr. Lex to do this in the best way possible. After graduating from the Ontario Veterinary College in 2008, Dr. Lex practiced for 6 years at Edwards Veterinary Services, a mixed animal veterinary practice in southwestern Ontario, serving the farming community as well as pet owners. After his first year of practice, Dr. Lex realized how little conventional medicine had to offer in helping senior patients and patients suffering from chronic disease. That is when Dr. Lex developed an interest in alternative medicine and started learning homeopathy and acupuncture. In 2014, Dr. Lex completed his CVA, Certified Veterinary Acupuncturist certification, at the Chi University under the world-renowned holistic veterinarian Dr. He-Sheng Xi. That same year, Dr. Lex joined Edmonton Holistic Veterinary Clinic, the largest holistic veterinary practice in Canada, founded by internationally recognized holistic veterinarian Dr. Steve and Karen Marsden. During his 7-year practice at EHVC, Dr. Lex gained experience in and successfully managed difficult medical cases with acupuncture and Chinese herbal medicine. Always looking for opportunities to expand his knowledge, Dr. Lex is currently in the process of completing his postgraduate diploma in Chinese veterinary herbal medicine through the College of Integrative Veterinary Therapies. Dr. Lex was born and grew up in Ukraine and has lived in different parts of Canada. He's happy to call Salt Spring Island his home. He loves his family time with Nahal, his wife, their 2 young, energetic children, Flutter, the tiny goldfish, and is a proud cat dad to their 3 well-travelled cats, Sita, Chip, and Jet Li. Dr. Lex enjoys hiking, photography, and martial arts. Welcome, Dr. Lex.
Thank you, Lisa, for this wonderful introduction.
I don't want to do you any disservice because I personally wanted just to let my listeners know I'm a little partial to Dr. Lex because it was recently in the last couple of months that I called upon him for my puppy. I have a Chihuahua who's had a heart murmur. And my daughter had discovered Dr. Les for her equine, for her horses, and said, Mum, you've got to call this doctor because he's a holistic practitioner on top of his traditional medicine with veterinary practice. And I'm all about that. So my dog absolutely loved him. It was an amazing experience. You came to the house. You're extremely professional. I want to tell everyone that my dog Bambi is flourishing and doing well under his guidance. And so I have first-hand knowledge of how Dr. Lex handles animals and who he is as a person. And I really wanted to give him a voice because a lot of people on Salt Spring certainly do not know that he exists. So tell us a little bit. First of all, welcome to Salt Spring.
Thank you.
And welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And tell us a little bit about yourself and how you've ended up here on Salt Spring and your passions in regards to veterinary practice.
Well, I will probably start with how I ended up on Salt Spring Island.
Good idea.
Over the past 8 years, we lived in Edmonton, and we moved to Edmonton from Ontario for an exciting job opportunity at Edmonton Holistic Veterinary Clinic with Dr. Steve and Karen Marsden. It was great learning opportunity, great team to work with, amazing clinic. And the unfortunate part was we never felt at home in Edmonton, and we both, Nahal and I and our family, missed the nature. So last spring, in 2021, we made a decision to leave Edmonton and go to Vancouver Island. During that journey, the fate brought us to Salt Spring Island. As we were looking for a place to live on Vancouver Island, we decided to get a vacation rental in the meantime and be on Vancouver Island to look for rentals more long term. And the place we found was on Salt Spring Island. And as soon as we arrived, we both felt like it was home.
I had the same thing, Dr. Lex, so I know exactly what you're talking
We
about.
stayed at that cottage for a couple months and were lucky enough to secure a long-term rental as of last November. So we are very happy to call Salt Spring home, and we're discovering the island, and there is way more to discover. The more we live here, the more layers of Salt Spring we'll learn about, and it's more and more exciting.
There certainly is, and I know after 22 years I'm still finding those layers. So be prepared for an adventure, because there really is lots to learn about this island, and it changes.
How I feel.
Yeah, and that
Exactly.
you think it's a small place and there's not that much you can possibly discover, but wrong. There's so much to discover here. So I'm so happy you're here. This is wonderful, and you're giving us. I really love how you're integrating a very traditional veterinarian practice with a holistic approach, and I want you to share the magic of that, because there really is a magic combination here of treating pets as humans are treated, ideally, with both modalities, in the allopathic and the holistic. And just tell us a little bit about the magic of that, because I know you must be working with that every day and helping lots of pets.
Right. Yes. So I do like integrating, and I find there are huge benefits of being able to practice both Chinese medicine, holistic medicine, and the traditional Western medicine. There are cases that need immediate relief, immediate treatment, and medications we have in Western medicine are great for that. But there are also cases that are chronic. There are elderly pets with chronic inflammation and chronic conditions that have tried all those medications and they do not get relief from them anymore.
Right.
Or there are cases that traditional medicine is really not having anything more to offer, and both patients and their guardians end up at the end and they don't know what to do.
Stressed.
They're stressed, and then Chinese medicine with herbal medicine and acupuncture in most of the cases has a solution. And then combining the two creates this practice with more options, more treatment modalities for both my patients and for the clients, for my patients' guardians. And since I learned Chinese medicine, I incorporate it in my exams every single time.
Right.
It just allows me to assess patient to a fuller degree. It allows me to get a more complete picture of what's going on with the patient. And also with acupuncture being a very, very powerful treatment, it helps a lot in diagnosis. What physical exam leaves out, acupuncture picks up and allows me to discover what was, let's say, hiding from me during the physical exam. And the same with the herbal medicine modalities, Chinese herbal formulas. Many of them created hundreds if not thousands years ago are amazing remedies, amazing medicines. They are gentle and yet they're powerful against the ailments that we are trying to treat in our companions and our pets. So that adds the whole different layer of treating those patients with difficult medical cases, with chronic conditions where drugs stopped working or drugs causing side effects.
Yeah. I noticed when you gave Bambi acupuncture, he received it so easily. Like way more than I even receive acupuncture, really, because I thought he was going to cry, and it would hurt him, but it didn't. He literally just took it, and it was tangible because you took his heart rate, you gave him the acupuncture, and then you took his heart rate again, unless I'm mistaken. And I guess it does what it does for humans. It opens up the pathways. Is that how that works?
It does, in a sense, opens pathways. And yes, pets respond to acupuncture really, really well. Dogs and many horses are very, very receptive and responsive to it. And you can see the results almost immediately. Many people don't realize how easy it is to give acupuncture to a dog. Many people, I think, even share the stress with their pet until they see how it happens.
Yeah.
The process is so gentle that if we keep this very calm, very peaceful environment and go with the patient, do not stress them out, approach them slowly, they receive the whole treatment with acupuncture needles very well. And then once acupuncture starts working, it relaxes them even more.
That's right. I noticed that.
And it is amazing how quickly it works. And assessing the pulse, I always start with assessment of the pulse of the patient, assessing its quality, its tone, how easy it is to find, how full the blood vessel feels. And then I keep checking it during my treatment. And as soon as we get it to the point where pulse feels normal or very, very moderate, then I know that acupuncture worked.
Yeah.
And by that time, you see the patient sometimes falling asleep, sometimes relaxing, or just, as Bambi did, sit in your arms and not minding it at all.
No, he didn't mind it at all. I mean, it was like, wow, I was shocked. But I also want to compliment you because you have, I mean, if there's a pet whisperer, you had a way about you that was very soothing and calming to him. And you obviously love animals, and I think that has to help.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and just very methodical and gentle. You certainly soothed me. And it is stressful when your animal's not well and you don't know what's going on. So, calling in the vet, and it's really important to trust your vet, which I haven't always been able to do, quite honestly. So it's lovely to be able to feel that. It was comforting to me, and I think then when I was comforted, the dog was comforted, for sure. Yeah. And then, of course, the treatment, which was lovely, is traditional medicine, which is you prescribed, with the Chinese powder to support him, with a view for him to be able to come off of the traditional medicine, the allopathic medicine, if you like,
Right.
and have maintenance with the Chinese medicine, which I love that because, like myself, if I'm prescribed an antibiotic or a medication, I don't want, for a chronic condition that in theory he's going to die with, I love the idea that you have a medicine to get them better and balanced, and then they're not stuck on it forever. You can give them something that will in hopefully support their well-being till they really do get old, and then they have to die. I mean, but at least they're not on, hard drugs, if you like.
For sure.
I don't know. For me, it just felt like, I can do the herbs. Ultimately, it feels comforting to do that.
Yes, it feels comforting to the pet guardians and the pet owners, but also is better for the patient themselves.
Yes.
The traditional medicines, the medications we have are great, but they're so powerful and so strong and so concentrated and pointed to treating one particular condition that frequently they have quite serious side effects. And the longer we use them, the higher the doses that we use of them, the more of those side effects we have in our pets. Using the herbal medicine, the Chinese herbal formulas, allows me to reduce the doses of the drugs. And frequently, in many cases, sometimes it's not possible, but in many cases we can manage the patient with the herbs and stop the medication at some point.
I'm really hoping for that for Bambi, obviously, because that's my hope. And he's doing great, by the way, to my listeners. But I love that. So on Salt Spring, as you've been getting known, and it won't take long for people to get to know you because the word spreads fast when there's a good practitioner of any kind on Salt Spring. What's your most likely call out? Is it dogs and cats, or is it at farm animals? Like, where are you at with that?
I had a lot of experience with dogs and cats practicing Chinese medicine. So I'm very experienced there, a lot of knowledge. I'm very comfortable with them, again, because I have so much knowledge and practice with it. But I did study acupuncture and herbal medicine for the equine patients as well.
Right.
And
so for the horse community.
For the horse community. And I am planning on kind of expanding my knowledge a bit more and going back to the books, because I haven't been treating horses regularly when I was practicing in Edmonton. And then probably within the next year, I feel like I will come up to the level where I'll be comfortable with working with horses as well. Horses are amazing in a way that they're probably the most responsive animal to acupuncture.
Wow. Why do you think that is?
The honest answer, I don't know.
No.
Just seeing these three species, the dog, the cat, and the horse. With the horse, you can see immediately how acupuncture works.
Amazing.
There are some patients that, just like in dogs and cats, would not allow you to start them with the needles right away. But then herbal medicine comes along and we can start the treatment, and frequently they become a bit calmer, a bit more receptive after a month or a few months on herbal supplements, and would allow a doctor to place some needles in them.
Amazing. Well, I know my daughter has 3 horses, and she's a great advocate of acupuncture for her horses, and her horses are unbelievably calm and have the most beautiful nature, and of course they need to, because she does this conscious equine work. But so that's impressive in itself, for sure. There's a lot of people that don't really understand what acupuncture does, and they're not necessarily educated in what acupuncture does. Do you think you could take a moment just to gently describe what acupuncture actually does do for humans and animals in a more professional way than I might, because in my limited capacity?
For sure. So I'll start with basic description and try to relay it to biomedical knowledge that we have about acupuncture. So what we know from the research, acupuncture treats painful conditions by interrupting the pain transmission in the spinal cord. Acupuncture can improve circulation to certain areas of the body or reduce the circulation to inflamed areas. And acupuncture also can change certain organ function. And of course, the research I found even in mainstream veterinary literature in Canadian Veterinary Journal a few years back was assessing how acupuncture works for treatment of arthritis or musculoskeletal conditions. So, and we know for a fact, backed up by the research, it does. It helps with pain, it helps with discomfort, it helps with mobility. If you go deeper and try to explain acupuncture from Chinese medicine perspective, what it does, it helps the body to be in balance. It helps the body to be in balance with the environment it lives in.
Right.
So when the needles are placed in appropriate acupuncture points at the acupuncture channels or acupuncture meridians that need attention and need treatment, they transmit what Chinese medicine practitioners call heavenly energies. So from the environment, you can either add something to the body, or if something from the environment entered as a pathogen or as a disease, you can help with acupuncture needles to get it out. So, for example, cold or dampness or heat, that can enter into the body and cause disease.
Right.
Or on the other hand, some patients may be lacking warmth, or some patients may be having too much dampness inside, so we can get the dampness out, and then we can bring the warmth in with the needles. Going deeper, acupuncture and the whole Chinese medicine works with concepts of yin energy and yang energy. Yin being moist, soft, cooling, more feminine, and yang being harder energy, more energetic, hot, and more masculine. And what we want to have the balance of the two, to have a healthy body,
healthy flow,
to have healthy flow in any living being, and acupuncture balances them as well. So that is a basic description from Chinese medicine perspective. Acupuncture helps us to balance our body internally with yin and yang. It also helps us to balance the body and the environment with what potential environment can do to the body and how body responds to it. And then of course there is concept of qi, or life force, that flows in the body through all the meridians and all the organs, and acupuncture helps the qi flow and balancing of the qi as well. And if we have properly balanced qi and just enough of it, it is the life force. It is what keeps animals and people healthy, and that's what keeps us going.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know I use acupuncture myself for, I suffered with hormonal migraines, and I found going for regular acupuncture decreased them enormously and helped balance my hormones. And many things, when I've had an injury, an inflammation, or a kidney problem, or so I really, really do. I'm an advocate of acupuncture. And I just urge my listeners to inquire, and if this intuitively speaks to you, to connect with that. And I just want to be able to offer them the opportunity to email you or contact you if somebody wants to ask you questions or have a visit with you, Dr. Lex. So what is the best way to do that if for a local on Salt Spring, or if somebody from a long distance who just wants to maybe do a long distance session with you and ask you for information?
For Salt Spring, the best way either to call me or send me an email. For long distance clients, the only way I would be able to provide service to them is do a veterinarian to veterinarian consult.
Right.
I do need to have hands on the patient,
right,
or somebody else's hands who understand Chinese medicine to help me out.
Are you willing to give your telephone number here on the radio to our local listeners?
Absolutely.
Okay, so could you go ahead and do that now?
So the best number to reach me at would be 250-222-9279.
That's a nice number, 222-9279. So you can reach Dr. Lex if you have any questions and you want a home visit that, by the way, is affordable and very thorough. Your dog will be weighed and have all the practices that a normal vet will give, plus the extra, the acupuncture and the diagnosis, and then any Chinese medicines, which he has with him. So you don't have to rush around and go and find them. He carries the stocks with him. I think that's important to mention. And I can't recommend him enough. So I really wanted to say that. Is there, and I appreciate that you've come all the way from Ukraine originally, and we're so sorry. I'm so sorry what's happening in your country. And
thank you.
You have a whole world behind you, or at least certainly Canada and many, many parts of the Western world. But we are so delighted that you're here on Salt Spring, joining this community, sharing your passion and helping the pets and the owners on this island by soothing them the way you do. So thank you for coming in, Dr. Lex, and thank you for sharing all of this knowledge. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us before you go?
Well, I would like to thank you for this opportunity to be on your show and to share with Salt Spring community and hopefully wider what I do, what my passion is. What I wanted to say is I came to practicing integrative medicine because as a young veterinarian, probably 1 or 2 years into the practice, I noticed that there's got to be something more to help our patients, to help our beloved pets and companions. And allopathic or Western medicine was not able to offer that. And I went and I learned more, so I expanded my toolbox as veterinarian. And in this process, I became much better practitioner. I can offer so much more and help our pets so much more. And I feel that I understand them more as well.
Yeah, I think you do too, and thank you.
Every day, working with the animals, they teach us so much.
They certainly
Living
do.
with them and then working with them, it's just learning something new every day.
It really is, and it's humbling, actually. The love that you get from your pet, no matter what. It's an enriching experience. At least that's my personal experience, and I know many people who would say the same thing. Yeah, and also I just want to say, as an intuitive healing healer, that I do healing work. People who have had suffered extreme trauma or through disability are unable to open up their heart chakra through connection and normal loving practices with other humans. I've noticed and witnessed firsthand, and it's my belief that animals fill that gap where we're not able to experience a certain level of connection at times in our lives for whatever reason. A beloved pet can open up our hearts and make us feel so loved and connected, and give us all that we need in those times. So if you are sad, lonely, depressed, unwell, or you know somebody who is deeply distressed, and they have the capacity and the gentle capacity to look after a pet properly, or even just to visit a pet, because they've done lots of studies in hospitals to show the effects on humans when they're unwell, being able to stroke a cat or a dog or other pets. I highly encourage it because it's a fantastic way of healing ourselves by loving an animal or being close to animals. Just as a little caveat there, that's my personal experience in my healing practice at Figs and Honey. Animals open up the heart and help us heal, calms our nervous system, soothes our soul, and opens us up to love in ways that we could never really imagined was possible. And I encourage people to expand that potential for themselves if they're not already loving an animal somewhere. So thank you, listeners, for coming and listening to this show. It's been wonderful to have you, Dr. Lex. Thank you for coming on. I wish you all the very best on Salt Spring Island.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.